Hello, everybody. It's good to see you today. My name is Kathryn Heling, and I'm going to read a fun story for you today. I wonder if you might be able to guess what this story is about. I have a clue for you to look at. What do you think? Well, if you said Halloween, you're right. It is a story about Halloween. And if you said ghost, you're partly right, because there are ghosts and other Halloween creatures in the story that I'm going to read you today. The book is called Halloween Good Night, and it was written and illustrated by the same person. Doug Cushman is the person who wrote and illustrated the book. The book was published by Henry Holt Company in 2010. Let's get started. Halloween Good Night. When day turns to night with stars overhead, all mamas and papas tuck their kids into bed. But if you were a monster on Halloween night, how would you wish your mama and papa good night? I can see the little boy or girl in this picture. Can you find him or her? I think they're not quite ready to go to bed yet. If you were a werewolf on the moors, muck and mire, near an old gypsy cart and a smoldering fire, with a full yellow moon shining its ghastly moonlight, how would you tell your hairy papa good night? That is a hairy papa. Hairy papa says, yowl, and his little boy or girl says, what? Yowl, just like papa did. If you were a creature in the dark black lagoon, snug in your swamp neath a watery moon, gurgling bubbles as you snuggle in tight, how would you tell your scaly mommy good night? The baby says, glug, glug. And what do you think mommy says? Did you guess glug, glug? You're helping me read this story when you read those words with me. If you were a mummy in a sarcophagus bed, wrapped up in linen from your toes to your head, what would you say in the orange torchlight? How would you wish your mommy good night? Look what the mommy and the child are saying to each other. That doesn't look like words that we know, does it? So I assume they're saying good night, right? If you were a skeleton in a graveyard of stones, clacking and rattling all your dry, bleached out bones, yawning a yawn in the ivory moonlight, how would you tell your bony daddy good night? If daddy says clickety, clackety, clack, clack, what does baby say? Clickety, clackety, clack, clack. Did you say it with me? If you were a ghost haunting a castle and moat, rattling thick chains, making underpants float, when you stopped all your moaning and screeching in fright, how would you tell your phantom papa good night? Papa says, boo, boo, and baby says, what? Boo, boo. If you were a witch with a bubbling brew of frog hairs and worm feet and the tongue from a shoe, when this foul-smelling potion is seasoned just right, how do you tell your black kitty good night? The witch says, hee hee hee, and the kitty and the baby say, hee hee hee. I hope you said it with me. If you were a vampire in your box in the tomb, as your papa, the bat, flaps his wings round the room, before he flies off to find someone to bite, how would you tell your sharp-fanged papa good night? Papa says, screech, and the girl says, screech. If you were an alien in a spaceship from Mars, exploring some galaxies, planets, and stars, snug in your sleep tube, traveling faster than light, how would you tell your Martian mommy good night? And again, we have some writing that doesn't look at all like our writing, but we know what they're saying to each other, don't we? They're saying goodnight in their alien language, their Martian language. Across the whole world, monsters short, thin, and round, in castles, lagoons, and deep underground, tuck their kids into bed and pull the blankets up tight. So how do you tell your mama and papa good night? What do you think the boy or girl is going to say to mama or papa? Did you guess good night? You're right. And here's a page of all sorts of ways to say good night in many different languages. Most of them look different from ours, but they all mean good night. The end. I hope you enjoyed the Halloween story today and that you have a fun, safe Halloween celebration this year. Bye-bye.